Hello, everyone. Good evening. We'll give you just a few moments here to join, enter into the webinar room, and then we will get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna. I am the Director of Sales here at CareerFoundry, and I'm joined by my very lovely colleague, Kevin, who is a Senior Program Advisor here at CareerFoundry. And today we are here to speak about getting your Bildungsgutschein with the Agentur für Arbeit or Job Center. Here we're going to cover who is CareerFoundry, what is the Bildungsgutschein, our career change programs available with the Agentur für Arbeit or Job Center to be able to get the Bildungsgutschein, applying for it. We'll cover the online learning platform, curriculum, as well as support network. So a little bit about CareerFoundry. We have actually well over 3,500 active students and 11,000 graduates, which is very crazy to think about. We've been open for 7 years, and we've always been an online program. And we have about 850 mentors, tutors, and career specialists to help you along your way. And we've been training students in the field of UX, UI, web development, and data analytics over the last 7 years. You may ask yourself, or perhaps you already know, what is a Bildungsgutschein? So a Bildungsgutschein is an educational voucher issued by the Agentur für Arbeit, known as the Job Center, and it entitles residents of Germany to learn new, valuable, and in-demand skills for free. Now, it is not always a guaranteed benefit. So we'll get into a couple of that, and then I would also recommend booking a call with our program advisors, which you'll be able to do at the end of our webinar today, and they can explain that a lot more in depth for you. The program with the Agentur für Arbeit is certified. So the CareerFoundry UX, UI, web development programs have officially been certified through the AZAV, which means that you can take the course free of charge with your Bildungsgutschein. So what courses can you take, and what do the timeframes look like in order to be able to take the classes? Now, with your UX program, that will take you full-time at 5 months and 3 weeks at 40 hours a week. There are very rare cases that you could get it approved to do it part-time, and in that instance, it would be 10 months with 3 weeks at 20 hours per week. Now, our UI course, you can do that full-time. That will take you roughly about 4 months at 40 hours per week, or again, part-time at 8 months or 20 hours a week. And for the full stack development program, that will be 6 months at 40 hours a week. These are just to give you a general understanding of it. And there are other requirements that would have to be met as far as time frame and different things that you'll have to do, and we'll cover that as well. Now, applying for the Bildungsgutschein. How do you get it? How do you know if you're eligible? And how can CareerFoundry support or assist you during the application process? So here's a general rundown of what it looks like to be able to get it approved and the requirements to be able to do that. First of all, to get started with the process, I would certainly recommend meeting with the Agentur für Arbeit or Job Center to speak with a Berater to get started with it. The next step is, once you've been approved for it, you'll be able to get in touch with CareerFoundry at the email listed here. So Bildungsgutschein@careerfoundry.com to start the admission and enrollment process, because there is a formal and very rigorous process to get started with it. You'll complete a profile survey, an information sheet, admission test, proof of your English skills, which you do need to be at least at a level B 2.1, I believe, Kevin, is that correct? Or a B2 level? Oh, you're okay. You got it. And you will scan the Bildungsgutschein back to our Agentur für Arbeit team that will help you with that. And then there is also a trial period. So in that trial period, you'll have 10 days to be able to complete 6 assignments. That is a requirement to be able to do that. It's not something that we can be lenient with. It is a requirement.
It was B1.2, just to clarify.
Yep. Thank you so much for that, Kevin.
You're welcome.
And then how does the collaboration with the Agentur für Arbeit work? We are in constant contact with the individual advisors. We are obliged to keep them updated about the course progress. So have you met the requirements for the trial period, your online attendance, and if there are any absences along the way? Now, how does the course with the Agentur für Arbeit differ from the private courses? That's one of the most common questions that we frequently receive. Courses for private students are always part-time. They can be full-time if the student chooses, but they are part-time. There's no flexibility. There's no specialization, no extensions. There is not a trial period. Well, I'm sorry, there is the trial period of the 14 days that somebody could decide if they want to do the program or not. And there is also no job guarantee for the Agentur für Arbeit students and no money back guarantee, whereas with the full private course, there would be. Now, Kevin, can you tell us a little bit about what we need and what we don't need?
Sure. So essentially what you'll start off to need, you'll need, of course, proof of residence here in Germany. So you got to be a legal resident. You do have to provide kind of a motivation and an understanding and explanation of why it is you want to take the program, why the program is a good fit for you, typically what your transferable skills are to the related program that you're looking to take. So the more transferable skills you have, the better, because all of our programs are considered Weiterbildung courses, which means they have to be considered an upskill. So if you have no related experience to the field that you're looking to step into, it does make your chances a bit more difficult to get the Gutschein. But of course, speak to your Berater and they'll be able to explain exactly what they're willing to support and not. We do require proficiency of level B1.2, which will provide you with a link to a free online English test from Berlitz. That'll be given to you during the enrollment process. Of course, you will need a computer, whether a PC or Mac. The UX program, you can use either PC or Mac. Same for the web development program. For UI, we strongly recommend that you use a Mac. And of course, you do need access to the internet. Without that, it's kind of hard to participate in an online program. Things you do not need, you don't necessarily need a background in tech because all of our courses are designed for absolute beginners. So we're happy to bring on anybody who's interested in learning. The next thing is you don't necessarily need unlimited time or unlimited free time. Just the amount of time that we recommended, whether the 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week, will suffice. You also don't need to learn on your own because we do provide you with dedicated specialists who work out in the field who are there to help you every step of the way, understanding the intricate details of the new job that you're going to be learning. And then, of course, you don't necessarily need to lose your unemployment benefits as long as you abide by the rules that we, of course, stipulate in the agreements that you'll be signing with us. And that's it for this slide. So as far as the next thing we're going to talk about will be our curriculum. So as far as the curriculum goes, our curriculum was written by industry experts. These are individuals that work out there in the field. They let us know very clearly what is expected of you, what also the companies are looking for in any qualified candidate. So that, of course, they're a great real-world source of information. So they do actually help us with creating the curriculum, partnered with, of course, our in-house instructional designers and editors to make sure that everything is to standard, right? And then, of course, we also decided to divide our programs into individual parts. For example, we always have our program started with an intro part, and then we transition to the immersion part. As Brianna did state, for the UX program, we don't include the specialization. Unfortunately, not the US government, but the Agentur für Arbeit, they made to take it out because it made the course duration a bit too long. They typically don't want courses longer than 6 months. when it comes to full-time. Now, each part of these courses are made up of several lessons, or what we call exercises. That just breaks everything down into bite-sized pieces, which makes it a much easier process to learn. But again, the programs are designed for absolute beginners, so we do start from the basics and work up from there. So they do progressively get more challenging, but it's not impossible. And at the end of each lesson, you will have to get you'll get hands-on experience and training through creating different portfolio projects, because all of our courses are actually project-based. So you're always going to be learning by doing, and then you can walk away with portfolio projects that you get to use during your job search, which is extremely important. So of course you can develop those practical skills and avoid dealing with imposter syndrome when you do the interviews. So the next thing we'll talk about will be the graduate projects. Here are just a few examples of the work that our students have created in the different programs that we do provide. You're more than welcome to visit our website for additional sources for these actual portfolio projects to get more in-depth understanding of exactly what the projects will be that you'll be creating. But as you can see here, they look really professional, and it's just a big, quick introduction to the type of work that you'll be creating throughout this program. Now, the amount of projects that you create in each program does vary. So I'll give you an example. For the UX design program, you will be creating 2 complete case studies with numerous deliverables. In the UI design program, you'll create 8 different projects. These will, of course, be a combination of websites and mobile applications. In the web development program, you're going to create 7 complete projects. Of course, this will be covering a wide range of different coding skills, both front end and back end, so that you can market yourself as a full stack developer after finishing the web development program. Next thing we'll talk about will be the support system that we do provide to you while you're going through the program and even before you get enrolled. So the first thing we'll talk about will be the Agentur für Arbeit team. Their role and purpose is there to provide you with administrative support with filling out your actual Bildungsgutschein. Of course, if necessary, maybe speaking with your Berater if they want a little bit better explanation of what exactly we do, how long we've been functioning, what are the services that we provide. Although we will happily provide you with documentation that will be in German that you can share with your advisor so that they can have a better understanding of the program. But the Agentur für Arbeit team is there just in case you need them. But also they help you do with the administrative process to make sure all your paperwork's in order. And of course, communicating on a consistent routine basis with your advisor at the Agentur für Arbeit after you started the program so that they are aware of your progress. All right. And then, of course, if you have any issues with your Gutschein, feel free to reach out to them as well. The next team or next individual that you'll be dealing with will be your student advisor. Your student advisor is really there for more administrative issues dealing with the actual program itself. So anytime you may have issues with uploading a file or something for review to your tutor, or you may just have some concerns about the experience you've had with a tutor or mentor, things like this. Just let your student advisor know, state your issues, and of course they will take great care of you to make sure they resolve those issues in a timely manner to ensure that you also have a continued enjoyable experience with CareerFoundry. Now, the next thing will be your tutor. So the tutor is an active industry professional who works out there in the field and also working for us as a freelancer here at CareerFoundry. So they can, of course, give you real-world insight. They're also the individuals that will be reviewing all of your exercise work on a routine basis. Every time you submit it to them, they're always going to go through, give you feedback, critique, and let you know how you're doing and how you can better your performance on the actual work to make sure that your project work is always to industry standard. Now, you also have access to them via instant messaging within the system. So you're not going to be sending external emails because we do like to track their timeliness to make sure that they're not leaving you hanging, anytime you have questions or concerns. So if you like to reach out to them, you just send instant messages within the actual system. And then you do have to submit your portfolio work at the end of every exercise so that they can give you feedback. They have, of course, up to 24 hours to respond, but they typically get back to you much faster than that. Now for the mentor. Here at CareerFoundry, we do like to give you what we call a dual mentorship support. So the mentor is a more senior industry expert, of course, in their field. They typically have, say, 8 years of experience or more for UX design, 5+ years of experience for UI and web development. So these individuals, of course, have a lot of great industry-specific knowledge and career advice that they can provide to you. But the way you communicate with them is via one-on-one video calls. So through all the programs, you are allowed to schedule up to 32 different 1-hour video calls throughout the duration of your program. We do ask that you book these calls with your mentor 48 hours in advance and have 48 hours between calls. This gives them both time to prepare for the meeting, right? And then also to ensure that mentors have time to spread with all the students. We don't want any individual student hogging in all the time of a particular mentor. They're, of course, going to speak to you about your project work. Also, maybe talk about more about what the actual day in the life of a designer or developer job might look like, so you understand what you're about to walk yourself into. You can even talk to them about the hiring process, just ultimately whatever you can think of. And if you don't have an idea what to talk about, just ask your mentor. They'll be happy to provide you with suggestions. And then, of course, they have, up to 48 hours to get back to you, because they are more seniors and they're working a senior job out there. So it just takes a little extra time for them to get back to you. But I promise you, they will. And of course, we do track the timeliness for them as well. The next individual will be your career specialist. This career specialist is the individual that will be helping you with a job preparation course. It's typically unlocked halfway through the program, but you're more than welcome to wait and to do the job prep course until after you graduate, just to prevent you with missing out any time, because you're already on a relatively strict time frame to finish the program. So do the job prep course afterwards. It does typically take about 30 hours to complete. It, of course, varies depending on the individual. But during that job prep, you're going to work closely with your career specialist to go through, first off, and helping you with creating a bespoke career change strategy, identifying where you want to go and how you'll get there as far as your career options. Also, polishing up your job search artifacts, such as your resume, also your social media platforms or your professional platforms, and also your portfolios. So they're going to take another look at your portfolio projects, but they're going to look at it from a potential employer's perspective rather than always from a designer or developer's perspective. So it's always great to have multiple sets of eyes on your work, just to make sure you avoid any pitfalls or things that might be off-putting to employers. We'll also cover how to write strong cover letters so that you are getting invited for interviews more often than not. Now, as far as the interview techniques, they will go through and kind of coach you on your pitch and how you should definitely sell yourself best during interviews. And if necessary, they're able to do practice interviews with you as well. So there's a lot of great support just in preparation to get you, a clear understanding of how you should navigate the job search process. Now, the support that we provide you will be typically for 6 months from your graduation date, which we find is plenty of time to help you get the job that you're searching for. And we do also offer unlimited career calls with your career specialist. So don't feel that you're limited to just a few calls. If you need their support, don't be shy. Reach out to them and schedule that call. Now, the next slide will cover the student community. This is important because we understand it's not fun to just study by yourself, especially in an online platform. So we like to give you access to the entire student community. So you actually have 2 different tools that you could have to utilize to chat with students all around the world. So there's an external tool called Slack, which there's a screenshot here, right here on the slide. And there's also an internal messaging tool that we just launched. So you're more than welcome to use these tools at your discretion. But of course, when you want to just communicate with students, you just jump on whatever tool you'd like. You can chat with students all around the world 24/7. So it's always a great way to connect, do your networking. During the UX and UI programs, you're more than welcome to share your designs, to get feedback, as well as do some user testing with each other. So it's a great way to replicate kind of the real world experience when you're having to do a lot of testing or just collaboration and amongst each other. And of course, the networking is super important. And we do also provide our students with monthly newsletters to kind of let them know of useful resources and upcoming events that they might like to participate. And of course, networking events when available. And we do also provide access to exclusive webinars for our students. So be on the lookout. So if you decide to take the program with us, or if you're fortunate enough, then be on the lookout for those. And we'd be, of course, happy to see you there. The last thing will be the alumni community. So as far as the alumni community goes, these are, of course, for graduates of the program. It's always great to stay connected, to kind of let us all know how things are going, what's happening in your industry, what's happening in your world. If you know of any opportunities that might be up and coming that you can share with other students, of course, who are recently graduates. So we always like to just give back, and we expect the community to kind of do that with us as well. So just try to stay connected. We do receive newsletters as well for alumni, but this is now on a quarterly basis. And of course, it helps you to just continue to expand your job network. As most of us realize, connections are powerful, right? And without those connections, it's really challenging to get a job. So we allow you to tap into our network, of course, of alumni, but even additional sources and just the experience that we have with looking for jobs for our graduates day in, day out. So hopefully that was helpful enough for you. And I believe we're going to open this up now to some questions. So I think my associate has been collecting these questions, so we'll go through them one by one. We'll make sure we answer as many as we possibly can.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Kevin.
You're welcome.
And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat so we can make sure we get those answered for you. So let's get started. Santina, you asked, does the Bildungsgutschein also apply for other courses as an example, the data analyst course, or is it exclusively for UI, UX, or web development? So at the time, right now, it is just for UI, UX, and web development. We are working on getting the certification for the data analyst program, but it's probably going to be quite a few months yet. So check back maybe after January if that is something that you are interested in. And Morrison, you asked, you are living here in Germany, and you asked if you're eligible for a free course. I'm not really sure. There are a lot of requirements with it, such as have you worked, what type of visa you're on. So I would recommend going to speak or send an email to the Agentur für Arbeit or Job Center in your area and get the process started so they can evaluate your case, because they're going to be the ones that will decide if you are eligible or not. All right, and then let's see if yes, how can I obtain the voucher? So yep, Morrison, I would really recommend just going to make an appointment with the Agentur für Arbeit or Job Center in your area, and they would be able to best answer that for your particular case. And then Gayatri, you asked, does proof of English skill mean the IELTS or the TOEFL certificate? So we actually would have you take an exam through Berlitz. It's part of your admissions process that we would send that to you. It's not of any charge to you. You'd be able to do that in usually about under an hour. It would send you and us the results, and then we would be able to determine there if you would be a good fit as far as meeting that requirement or not. Okay, let's see. They're just coming in. Hold on. Kevin, do you want to jump in here and take a question or two?
Yeah, sure. So let's see the next question from Seda. Seda, she was asking if there's a certain level of German required to be eligible for the Bildungsgutschein. That's a really good question. So there's not necessarily an explicit requirement to have German in place, but most Beratas would like you to have around B1 or B2 German. That's not, again, to be eligible for the Gutschein, it's just to make sure that you are as marketable as possible, because their ultimate objective is to make sure that if they invest in a program on your behalf, that you're going to get a job, right? And if the language barrier is perceived to be an issue, since you would be in Germany, therefore, that's where they put that kind of importance. So you would need to provide some type of proof of the B1 or B2. It just depends on the advisor that you get assigned. And then a follow-up question from Seda is, do you have any form or example that you have convincing arguments and cases that can be used to ask for the Bildungsgutschein at the Agentur für Arbeit? So one of the guides that we could provide to you will be the application guide. That application guide does actually provide you with additional tips and tricks of what you necessarily need to bring along to your appointment, which would increase your chances of getting the Gutschein, and other things that you can share that, of course, would help them convince that you would be eligible or a good fit for the program. So please check that out. We even have it downloadable in the handouts at the moment.
Great. And then Jainan, you asked, are there different starting dates? So yes, we do have starting dates every 2 weeks. The whole process takes up to usually 6 to 18 weeks right now, from getting in with the Agentur für Arbeit to getting approval to get everything done with us. So I would say, yes, there's start dates every 2 weeks, but it's not a process that you could start next week and then be in class the following week. It's pretty intensive as far as the time that you really need to have allotted to be able to get all the approvals done, especially right now. I wish it would go faster, but that's really what we're looking at. And then Ben asked, if you don't get the Gutschein, how much is the course? So the course is 5,900 euros. Through the rest of September, and then we are going to have a price increase for October 1st, which would be another 1,000 euros on top of that. So if it is something you want to do as a private paying student, I highly recommend you book a call with a program advisor, and they can get you set up with everything now and figure out what payment plan works best for you. And then, Ankit, you are from India, and you asked if you're eligible. If you're living in India, unfortunately not. If you're in Germany on a visa, possibly, but it depends. They're very rigid with the requirements as what it would take to be able to get approved. So I would say that if you're not living in Germany, no, you're not going to be approved. If you have working experience here in Germany, perhaps, but I would book a call with a program advisor if you fit that second part of it. Okay, all right. Kevin, do you want to jump in and take the next one?
Sure. So when is the application opened and is there a deadline? So technically the deadline would be you have to have everything set up and prepared and filled out before an actual start date. That would be the only deadline that I can think of, but there isn't like an open window of when you need to submit your documentation by, because like Brianna said, our start dates are every other Monday. So we've got no time pressure as far as when you need to have your paperwork in by. Just, abide by the stipulations and the dates that'll be provided on your Bildungsgutschein. There's 2 different windows actually on your Gutschein. So their window initially, the top window would be when you need to activate the Gutschein by. So the date that we need to receive it, fill it out for you and send it back to your advisor. And then there's how long the Gutschein is valid for. So that would be the duration of whichever program you choose. And that of course varies. So don't worry too much about deadlines there. Okay. The next one, Melina, you ask, where are the mentors based? Do they know the German job market well? So what we like to do, we like to pair our students with tutors and mentors who are as close to them as possible. It doesn't mean they're going to be your next door neighbor, but that means they're going to be at least in your time zone, or maybe plus an hour or 2 around you, because we don't want any major time zone differences. Now, they don't necessarily explicitly understand the German market very well. It depends on, of course, their background, if they have experience. But of course, if you do need some industry experience or knowledge specific to the market, definitely talk to your career specialist, right? They're going to be able to help you more specifically about the actual market here in Germany. Now, Caden asks, hi, everyone. Kevin, especially, I actually spoke with Caden. This is Caden checking in. I'm just registered with the Agentur für Arbeit, but have not used any of their services, made an appointment, or used any of their service for over 1 year. Is it still possible to obtain a Bildungsgutschein? There's no expiration date of when you could potentially use a Bildungsgutschein. If you want to find out if you're qualified, as always, reach out to your advisor there. And then, of course, they'd be happy to hear from you. And then, of course, they can discuss your eligibility. All right. That's the most important thing there. Looks like the next question, Izzles. Oh, boy. Okay. Start dates for the UX design program. Again, the start dates are every 2 weeks. The next start date happens to be the 13th of September and then the 27th of September and so on and so forth. So if you ever have a question about what start dates are available, check out the UX design product page and go down to the pricing section. Right down there, they actually have all the start dates listed. So that seems to be all the questions we have. Oh, never mind. No, new one came in. Abu Bakr asked, is the TOEFL language, is it acceptable and what grade? So if you're referring to the German language, imagine TOEFL would be acceptable, right? And also the Goethe. There's a few state level tests that you would need to take. But if you ever take the integration course, whatever test they provide, that would be sufficient. But any other questions related to what certificates or tests you need to take to validate your German skills, definitely speak with your Berater at the Agentur für Arbeit. If it's related to the English course, again, it's the Berlitz test that we would provide you with a direct link to. It's completely free. You can take it as often as you like, just till you see if you get to that B 1.2 level. Make sure you save your results, though, because we will need them, of course, during the admissions process.
Excellent. Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
It looks like, I'll say that, no, German is not required for the course. Not at all.
Not for us.
And not for us, correct. Now, if there are any questions, now is the time to put those in the chat if we have not answered them. So we'll give you here just a minute or so to do that. Somebody asked, is 47 years too old to be able to take the program? Sure hope not, because I'll be 41 this year. So I would say that, I think the biggest thing with age is that people assume like, oh, I'm old, I can't do it. It's more of, have you worked on increasing your skill set to remain competitive and marketable in the job market? Those are the 2 bigger questions. And for your age, by the way, you could say you're 47, but hey, maybe you look 35. I'm not, it really depends, on the person.
The mindset.
So yeah, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm 47, put me out to pasture. It's my time is done. That's not the case. realistically, you probably have another 10 to 20 years of working. So I would say just make sure you work on improving your skill set to remain marketable and competitive. 47 is not too old. We had a student that was 62 that did the program, did an internship, because that's what she chose to do, and then was hired at a UX position. So just think about it as it's learning a new skill. You have years of working experience. You're not coming into this brand new with just a degree and no working experience. You probably bring a lot to the table. So no, 47 is not too old. All right, so I guess that is it. Today is September 1st, 2021. It's the only one you're ever going to get. And I see, I'm so sorry, I just want to answer this. Jinan, you asked, could you also receive the Gutschein when wanting to develop within the company you currently work? Not usually, no. It depends on the status of your organization. So that's not typically something that they would approve, but you could also be a private paying student if that's something you wanted to do. Absolutely. All right, so again, today is September 1st, 2021. It is the only one you're ever going to get. Make sure you make the most of it. Thanks for spending some of your time with us here at CareerFoundry. It was great to be able to speak with all of you. Take care of yourselves, and thanks again. Bye-bye.